08. My apologies. So this is the ancestral wood, and these are amazing. Because it's there is. Nice. Three. Jen. Do you see what happened here? Wait, I'll show you again. Jordan's afraid. You know why he's afraid? Because this is gonna be the place where there's a guy called Midra. Midra is the only one to survive the frenzied flame. So because he survived it, he was like, yo, I'm gonna be it. But his presence in the frenzied flame is so big, we still feel it. And you guys remember when we chose the frenzied flame ending last year? Turin was one that died when we chose the frenzied ending. Didn't care about Melina dying. They want Turin to die. So here is tough because you're gonna get people that are enemies that are super tough. So these are the enemies. Look, one. Don't let it see you. Once you are seen, there's no escape. It cannot even be touched. I'm guessing this is a... I'm guessing this is kind of like a... stealth? What is that? See, he's using frenzy flame. It's been so long since we see frenzy flame. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know it was there. Madding End. Such a scary place. And how much want to bet that they're right here next to the other ends that was given to us by the monk. Madding. See? Hand to hand, fist. The fist. Everything is corrupted around here. Everything is corrupted. Priori. Oh. Even then, they survive. Priority is the map. Look at afar from the giant rats. So fucking cool. And my friend, present to you the castle. Now, there's a test I want to do. The test is to defeat Midra, and then to see if I can cure the rest of the abysmal wood. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this. Because my friend, soon, this will not be. I haven't met one of them, which I believe is a great sign. Map this. Look at here, dude. Look at here. What a freaking mess. Even the water. Bed and church, super corrupted. Dum, doo, 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 doo. Dum, doo, 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 dum. To be honest, I don't know where to go down. Should I see something in the... Do 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 do. It's a beautiful place, though.
Bloodline, and there was no one else who could teach her what she needed to know. So the child was left to learn on her own, but under the extreme pressure from her father in Rome. The queen had been dear friends with the Gerudo chief Urbosa, and about a year after the queen passed, Urbosa made a trip to Hyrule Castle under the guise of diplomacy, but in truth, she was deeply concerned about the princess. Urbosa had seen the sorrow of the little girl after her mother had died. She wanted to check in on how her training was going.
Good.
The practice of that Urbosa tried to pull the child out of the water. When she finally forced Zelda out, the little girl revealed a terror within her. Her powers weren't able. Her father was constantly pressuring her to pray. And that this process wasn't working made the girl panic. She couldn't understand what was wrong with her. All Urbosa could do was hold the child into her ears. After all, who could possibly question and defy the king and Hyrule? Over the coming years, each of the divine beasts was brought to the surface. It was a painstaking feat that took innumerable man-hours to accomplish. As the prophetic return of Ganon loomed lower and lower, the young Zelda undertook scholarly pursuits to understand the ancient guardians and the divine beasts, which the king sorely disapproved of. He believed that she should be spending her days in prayer, Hylia, trying to awaken her power, not to learn more about the plastic technology. Finally, they were all brought up to the surface. The process of choosing champions to pilot them began.
I thought is fighting gonna be fun.
To personally oversee the selections and
Little seed.
onto our systems. One day, the chosen Goron champion was strolling about Dunmount and saw a little tiny guy being attacked. The Goron had already been accustomed to the presence of hiding on the mountain, so he rushed down to help the little fellow out. But by the time he had arrived, well, that little guy being attacked had already cleared out the attackers, and then he saved the group's hide by stopping the surprise attack. It was a bit embarrassing for the mighty Goron champion, but the two bonded over their extreme love of food, and they found out that they had quite a lot in common. The little guy's name was Link, and the two became fast friends. So, from the Gorons came Daruk, Rito came Rivali, from the Zora came Tifa, and from the Gerudo came Urbosa. Though they varied in aptitude, they each eventually came to master control of their respective divine beasts. Zelda began working closely with Sheikah researchers to understand the many varieties of ancient tech being unearthed. Things like the Sheikah Slate, the Shrine of Resurrection, old armor and weaponry, all the while developing bonds with the humans that would pilot the divine beasts. Daruk's good buddy Link also found himself playing a larger part in the story. Seems like during a test with the ancient guardians, one of them went a little bit haywire and turned aggressive. Link took it out using only a pot lid, and that garnered him the king's attention. Link was appointed Zelda's knight, and also granted the Master Sword. Boy, was Zelda unhappy about it. Old legends told of the wise princess and courageous warrior standing against the powerful Ganon, and Link fit the courageous warrior trope to AD. He seamlessly fell into his role and was an unmatched swordsman, but he was also emotionless and unspeaking. Zelda immediately disliked him, and resented that he was so effortlessly able to fulfill his role properly. She had spent her entire lifetime struggling and suffering to play her part, and this ass just walks right in like a snowman through. Hated him. All that she did Zelda completely see the show of and that for the most part him. As the fuel for practice, she went as far as
easy.
While entering the Gerudo Desert, she used Gerudo law to get him away from her. Males aren't allowed in their town, women only, and Zelda took a detour through their territory to use that law against him. Instead of meeting with Urbosa to talk about the problem, she told him that he could dress like a Gerudo woman. By the time he was able to get his attire ready, she was long gone. And when he finally tracked Zelda down, Yiga assassins were about to lop her head off. The Yiga were once the Sheikah long ago. When the king commanded that they rid themselves of their technology, some of those Sheikah who rebelled went on to form the Yiga clan. And all these thousands of years later, they now lived in service to Ganon. Link stepped in to save her from the assassins, and after that, she decided to keep her. She saw that he had gone above and beyond the sound to help her.
Good.
It took a lot of effort for both of them to eventually, Zelda asked him why he was so reserved and unwilling to speak, and he told her that it was because he felt like that was what he was supposed to do. He was meant to shoulder everyone else's problems with a silent strength. All that was ever expected of him was combat and problem solving for other people, and that's how his entire life had been. Even training as a knight, he could walk.
This is tough, dude.
the two of them started getting along and understanding each other a bit better, Zelda's smile returned and things just seemed to run a bit smoother. Except she still didn't harness the power of her bloodline. She went to the Spring of Power and the Spring of Courage to pray. The goddess Hylia to awaken her powers, but both of those great journeys ended in failure. She prayed until she couldn't anymore and nothing.
Look at this.
Her last hope was the Spring of Wisdom, but she could begin that journey until her 17th birthday. The champion was told well that should again return. She did not fulfill her role. She was for lack of trying to get her whole life. So on her 17th birthday, the artist for the Spring of Wisdom. The day before, Zelda and her father
You're missing batteries.
failures and options at the time. It was even embarrassing for her. She had thought that and rated her as something. And that's when she expressed her feelings about that. And after Zelda had apologized and noticed. Together, Link and Zelda talked about the Zelda prayed to the shrine all day, but nothing happened.
Good.
No response, no awakening. It was a failed venture. At the base of the mountain, Zelda had to explain to the champions her shame. And during that tense what brings you to East Texas? Sophie just moved here from Boston. Hi, girl. New girl. You have no idea what these people are capable of.
What is that? Quickly awake your chance. Hide yourself, make no sound. What is not an option? Crouch in the underground. I'm gonna try to do something else. I don't remember where it is though. It's a bit of a problem.
The only thing that can surpass the beauty of your eyes is the out of your eyes. Up to result, we see you like no other. Conversation. Ganon struck. It was too late. The champions immediately went to their divine beasts, ready to pilot them and aid Link and Zelda.
Black Knife, the assassin that carried out the dead of the dead.
It wasn't the first time that he had faced off against
Power yet remain, which nullified the sound of footsteps.
Physical malice, Ganon manifested parts of himself into blight monstrosities and sent them to each of the four divine beasts. The blight took over each and every one, and when their champions appeared to take them back, the blights of Ganon killed them. They never stood a chance. He was far too strong. And almost simultaneously, Ganon used his malice to overtake and corrupt the ancient guardians that protected the castle, and then the killing really began. The king died in the castle, along with most of the Hyrule Royal Guard and anyone else on the grounds. The corrupted guardians and Ganon's malice spread out from that epicenter and started bringing down surrounding settlement and population centers. What few of the army did make it out fled for the Akala region. The farthest reaches of Hyrule were terrorized but left mostly intact, whereas the heart of Hylian territory was ripped apart by Kamehameha Ganon. Link and Zelda barely made it out, but Zelda was
What a cool armor.
previously wounded fighting off guardians, and the Master Sword itself was barely intact with terrible battles. They ran all morning, but it was too much for them to handle. They were cornered with no place else to run, but no energy left to carry them. But at that very bitter end, Link stood guard over the princess. They would face the end together. In the hope of my knowledge,
Oh, he saw me.
she cast away the corruption and the guardians of the field and killed them all in one fell swoop with no simple steps. And when the grand display finally faded, she took it back to the right side of the house.
Tough. Really tough.
Whatever was within the ancient blade wished for its champion to survive. It told the princess to take Link's body to the Shrine of Resurrection. It would take years to accomplish, but he could be restored. Sheikah fighters found Zelda and Link on the empty field, and she commanded them to take his body to the shrine. There he would slumber for as long as was needed to bring him back to life. And Zelda herself went to the Lost Woods all on her own, carrying with her the damaged Master Sword. She laid it upon his old resting place at the heart of the forest before the great Deku Tree, and for a while he prayed in the